It kind of helped them advance. I mean, do you think this was a conspiracy?
Gotta go with Jacob Butter. Gotta go lefty.
No, we're talking about the players. That's tournament champion to the podcast.
There he is, right there.
Oh, he doesn't even know how to watch. Go to youtube.com and search Down Lane Podcast. Hey, welcome to Down Lane Podcast. We are streaming live from the lab at Town and Country Lanes. I'm your host, Kyle Haines, and with me is the assistant to the host, Anthony Scaccia.
I'm thrown off. Can we restart off? You did not start off the same way you started off the past, 39 episodes.
I think it's 34 or 35, but yeah. Why? What do I want to say?
Hey, welcome to Down Lane Podcast. Say you're like, hey, hi, yeah. It's weird. Throw me right off.
All right, guys. Don't forget to like, subscribe, click the bell to get alerts.
I'm not kidding.
Share with your friends, please. And if you can't watch on the YouTubes, you can always listen on your favorite podcast outlet. And while you're doing that, please give us a 5-star review. You can always catch us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Give us some love and check us out on our merch shop on Etsy. We got some sweet merch on there, like these awesome shirts and some hats and backpacks. Stop using those silly shoe backpacks that you can get from those other guys and get some Downlane Pod backpacks, right?
Are you okay?
I don't know.
You are starting this show off really different. I am thrown off.
You're good.
You're usually by the book, black and white, same voice, same tone, same every order. Now today it's like we're restarting the whole show.
I'm good.
I'm very confused. Austin, are you ready on this one?
If you'd like to sponsor the show, you can email us at downlanepod@gmail.com. And don't forget, you can always comment to us during the show, and we will chat with you and take your questions live on air. On today's episode, as always, we will get to the poll question. We are going to talk about the last 2 PBA tournaments. We didn't get to the one last week because we were so busy with all the stuff on the show, including Ron Hicklin. So make sure you check out that episode last week. We're going to talk about this week's hot take, and we're going to get to Bowler of the Week. So let's get to this week's poll question, which was, is there too much science in bowling to understand? What'd you say? Don't worry about it. I don't want to hear what you have to say.
I can't remember.
Doesn't matter.
That was at
so
9
is
o'clock
there
this
too
morning.
much science to understand in bowling? So 61% of the folks out there said no, there's not too much science in bowling. 39% said yes. So we'll get to that later on because that's part of our hot take this week. So how was your week this week?
It's a great week.
Yeah.
I
don't know why this always makes me laugh.
It was a good week. I'm here, and Kyle even had a better week. Kyle. It's only taken 2 years, but he won another tournament, and it was the same one as 2 years ago with the same guy. Unbelievable! Great job! Congratulations!
Thank you. Yeah, back-to-back doubles, Super Bowl doubles, Baker's championship with my doubles partner Nick Harris.
Are you forgetting who you both? I mean, you seem like you're just.
I got it. Nick Harris. He's
Nicholas, good guy.
Should we take Kyle's vitals?
I know he is completely off tonight. He's like mumbling, stumbling through sentences today. Are you okay?
I'm good.
It's because he had a pregame drink with Jake in there.
That's right.
What it was.
Yeah.
But yeah, not Austin. Kyle and Nick shot 300. They plowed it through the nose for the $300 jackpot.
That was great though.
And then Kyle plowed it through the nose to win. So for some reason, these two guys have magic fingers when they get in that tournament.
Magic fingers, you say?
That's what I call it.
To be fair, that shot was pretty tough.
Yes.
It was a yo-yo tournament. I mean, the first 3 games.
What the heck? Oh, up down.
Oh yeah, the first 3 games, like
touch on quick.
the numbers were like, it was like plus 10 to lead and like minus 20 or something to make the cut. Again, this was a Baker's doubles tournament. This was at Uncle Sam's in Troy, New York, and then as the day goes on, it didn't go much higher than that for the first 3 games. We shoot 170 something out of the gate. Then we shoot 240, then like another 170 or 190 something. I can't remember exactly.
I thought it was on 140.
Did the 140 come in the first 3 games?
Nick told me you went 240, 140.
Okay, then it was that early. All right. Yeah, it wasn't great. And then so it was like 170, 240, 140, and then like another 170 or 190, and then it was
Then the strikes
that was
were
all
falling out of
out from
sky.
there. Yeah.
Plowing them over, crossovers.
No, it wasn't that bad.
Hitting it on the 2-pin, didn't even hit the head pin. Backup strike.
These were not
unbelievable.
True.
These guys have magic fingers. Unbelievable.
No.
Well, great win. And Kyle also has now got a free trip to Vegas to take care of
what?
The USBC convention.
Yeah, so we mentioned a couple months ago, because Anthony and I finished in the top 10% of the USBC Open Championships in the all events, was it? Right?
I have no idea.
Yeah,
I'm assuming it must have been just out of everybody's the top scores for 9 games. So yeah, I would assume
that's called all events. Yes, congratulations.
Well, I'm just saying. I assumed that it would be out of all that. So we came in what, the top 10%?
Top 10%, and we're under the age of 45.
Oh.
Yep. So still got the phone. Hope nobody calls. Sorry. So we're under 45. We finished in the top 10%. So we were eligible for the Young Delegate grant, which is a trip to the USBC convention in Las Vegas, which is where they decide. I think some of the rule changes.
Are you going to talk about foul lines?
And they announce some of the updates that will be coming up in the USBC. So that being said, we submitted our applications for that grant, and we just received an email today that I actually got it. And
I did not.
Anthony, unfortunately,
but that's okay.
So, I mean, maybe if some people said that they couldn't make it, maybe they'll get like a backup acceptance.
Yeah, I mean, I'll play second fiddle.
Acceptance. Yeah.
I'll play second fiddle as long as they pay me to get out there.
Or cool. We could start a GoFundMe and we can get some.
No, it's okay. I'm quite okay. I can sit this one out and wait till we go in June and give me the scouting report on how Nationals is, because I'm sure you're gonna have a little bit of time to bowl out there too and check out the lanes and check that out.
Yeah, I'm totally going to head over to South Point. We'll do a little scouting, see how some folks are playing the lanes. I'll try to either bowl in the Bowler's Journal, which is the side tournament for the OCs.
OCs means Open Championships.
Open Championships. I'll also, I think they're depending on it bowls some days, but there's not the TAT. That's a different tournament.
Oh, you're talking about the BTM.
Is it bowling this month. Yep. That I'll see if they have any dates for that. I'll definitely be looking for something to bowl in while I'm out there. I'll bring a bag or maybe 2.
You're crazy. How long do you have to go out there? I think it's 4 days, right? 4 days.
So usually arrive. I say usually. They say arrive Monday, and then the events end on Thursday, I think.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, congrats, Kyle. They come in 3,
Thanks.
So it looks like he's gonna win like a ball raffle or something. Maybe win the lottery. I don't know. You're still got the one open.
You got to play the lottery to win the lottery.
Well, I'll give you $2, and if you win, we can split it. Well, technically, cool. I would have won. Never mind.
Yeah. We also filmed a review this week, which is going to come out next week. Yeah,
that's right. Are we allowed to tell people what it was?
Or? No, that's up to you.
I mean, I guess we can. I mean, we got Kyle a Pink Widow. He's not going to use it in competition, but we wanted to make sure we had some footage to be able to put out to the people. So Kyle's got it out. We had it out on Monday?
Tuesday.
Tuesday we got it ready for him, and we did a nice comparison between the Rubicon UC3 and the Purple Hammer. So we will be putting that out. Well, he'll be putting that out soon. It took us a while to film that. That was an interesting thing. But what were your overall thoughts? I mean, can we give a little spoiler away, or are you not going to do that?
We can give a little spoiler alert. I don't want to give the whole thing away. But what I'll say is it's definitely different than the purple and the UC3. It's neither the same than the UC3 or the purple.
Right. It's a little bit different
than
shape.
both. It's different than both of those.
Right. And we have on-lane footage. We did oil the lanes up right before Kyle got there. And so I think we have a nice comparison of the three. And I think that you'll really be able to tell which one would fit your game better if you were looking at urethane equipment. Would you agree?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Or if you want all three, then you'll see how to utilize all three of them. Yeah.
Right. And I was supposed to film urethane review on all three of the Hammer or the Brunswick one, or all four. I was going to do a U-motion, a double cross, a purple, and a pink widow. And I forgot.
The charcoal bag.
The Kingsford bag. And I forgot my, what's it called?
Just go ahead and burp right into that
just
microphone.
Come out of my mouth. We were going to do all four of those, but I forgot my Purple Hammer. Right? I think that's the one I forgot. I forgot
just the staple, the most important one.
Well, to be fair, when I go to tournaments, my bags are organized in a fashion, so I know which bag it is. So my urethane bag is typically the black one out of the two navy ones that I bring. So I bring two navies, which is resin and a urethane spare ball, and then I bring another urethane bag that's all black. So I went in my basement. I'm like, we gotta film today. So I walked to my basement, just grabbed my black bag, pulled it out, and then I got here and Kyle's like, "You got everything?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's right there." I looked down, I'm like, "That doesn't look purple, that's red," and it was not the right ball. So I didn't do that. But we did do a review that should be out in a few days. I'm assuming Kyle's probably about 2 or 3 days before it gets released, and then you guys can check that out. What
Indeed.
do you think? You ready? You ready for it to go live? Did you do all the editing?
It's done. It is ready to go. It just it will automatically release next week.
What time?
Midnight on the 23rd of February.
Checks out, Austin. Oh, okay.
Unless you let me release it earlier, then I
don't know. We'll have to see.
We'll
have to see. I do like that one. I do like the Pink Widow though. I think it's definitely a different look. What else?
Well, tell us what your experience is so far as somebody that actually has thrown it, like
in competition.
Yeah.
So I bowled this weekend and I led a squad, and it was on a very, I would say, pretty close to a national shot. 30 milliliters of oil. It was about 2.8 to 1. A lot of oil, a lot of 2-to-2 loads, very flat. And so I was like, you know what? I just want to roll in with 2 double totes. I just want to make sure I said the right thing. I just wanted to throw my U-motion and my double cross and my purple and my pink in one bag and just walk in, because that's what I figured I would need. I practiced a little bit here, and we got there, and sure enough, that's all I used. I shot 225, 224 something with a double cross, which is the earlier version of a pink or of a purple hammer. So many colors. It's a earlier version of the purple hammer. It flares a little more. It reacts a little more like a 16-pound purple hammer. Then after the second game, my plan was to just change urethane balls anyways, because if you use urethane, as people know, your surface goes away. And once your surface goes away, your striking percentage goes much farther down. So I switched just because. I didn't even think twice. I just put it in the bag and went and grabbed the sanded one. The purple I shot 236 with. So, and I did throw the pink in, I think, 4 shots in that game too. And what it was is the black hook, the black double cross hooks about 2 feet earlier. It feels like it's like a mile earlier. It feels like it's a foot, 2 feet earlier. And it kind of tames the back ends off more. And then that purple one is more of a down lane one, and it continues better. It doesn't, and it hooks about the same amount, to be honest with you. They're very similar. And then I use the pink when I need a little extra kick. I know it kind of sounds funny because it's urethane.
But it's ASIM, so people have to remember that.
Right. So the asymmetrical block
gives you that energy down
just
lane.
A little bit different of a hit. And yes, it did snap the 10s out. I struck out that game. I used it on one lane. I used the double cross in the left lane and the pink widow on the right lane, and I struck out for, I think, maybe I didn't shoot 220, 220. I think I shot 214. I don't know. Anyways, I struck out for whatever it was, and so for me, the Pink Widow is going to come into play when I have to get. There's a lot of volume out there, and I can't get my symmetrical urethanes to hit because they're just a little too slow, or they hook too early. But the if I went to a nationals event, I wouldn't bring the purple ball. So just because it would replace the pink. I don't want to move in with the pink ball. Like you said, possibly in the review this week, you could move in with it a little bit more than the purple. For me, I would want to keep my angle straight. So for me, it rolls really forward because I'm very straight with it in the back ends, but I would have to get the ball to continue. I'd have to move a little right, catch a little more head oil. So it's just a little more punch.
Right.
Long story short, a little more punch,
A
a
little
more flare. A lot more flare than the double cross, and a lot more flare than the purple hammer.
Yeah, we were examining the rings on the pink versus the purple, and at least on mine, it was an inch of not even rings. It was a group of oil on my purple versus
flare.
An inch and a half of flare, maybe 2 inches of flare on the pink.
Right.
Actual rings on the pink. So the asymmetrical core definitely makes it a lot different. But we'll let you guys actually watch that next week once the review comes out.
It is definitely a nice top end of the piece for the urethane bag.
Oh yeah.
Because the double cross for me was a little bit it does definitely have a lot more flare. It's got a lot more flare than the purple does, but not quite as much as that pink. So that pink just gives you that top of the bag. If you need somebody who really needs help getting that urethane to hook, that ball will definitely be the ball. But for me, I just figured out with the other two. But I do like the pink. It'll come in play in certain events.
Sure.
Maybe longer ones, longer patterns. But that's my synopsis. Go ahead, Kyle.
All right, let's talk about the PBA over the last 2 weeks.
The PBA?
The Professional Bowlers Association. So last week, we didn't get to talk about the Best of the Best Championship at Jack 60, which was in Michigan. Jesper Svensson took that one. That was on the Viper oil pattern, which was 37 feet. Both of these were on flow bowling, which...
Did you watch them at all?
Of course not, because...
I forgot to mention I won a free subscription to Bowl TV.
Oh, that's right. I got to go to Vegas.
And I got the secondary prize of your subscription to Bowl TV, which I still haven't figured out how to sign up for because they give me specific directions, but I can't find the Join Bowl TV button. It's just non-existent. Anyways.
Well, congratulations.
Yes, I haven't tried that yet. So.
Yeah, you can't actually log in on your phone. You got to log in on a desktop.
Or a laptop. I can check it right now. I bet you it's on there.
Yeah, probably.
But yeah.
Well, congratulations on your Bowl TV subscription.
Thank you. Heck yeah, it is.
So Best of the Best Championship last week. Svensson took that. It's on it was on flow bowling. And to answer your question, no, I did not watch it. I watched some updates like YouTube updates on it. And that was on the Viper oil pattern, which was 37 feet. The funny thing is, in both of those tournaments on the website, when you're looking for the information, if you click the oil pattern button, it will tell you that it's the Viper oil pattern. But if you want to learn about the Viper oil pattern, you have to then go back to the tournament information to find out about its length. And that's the only thing you can find out about it.
I think you did tell me you have to be a PVA member, because didn't we talk about this the other day? We wanted to know because the bear looked really hard. I think we were watching it. Were we watching it?
I only watched a few shots of the bear, which was this week's pattern, which was Kokomo Championship. And that was, yeah.
I think yesterday I got our smart TV to work in the bar because it was messed up, and we did finally get back to flow bowling.
A lot of corner pins.
It just looked like it was really hard. Like it looked like it was really brutal. And we tried to look it up.
The few shots that I saw, that one, again, that was this week's pattern. That was 41 feet, and they looked like they were playing. The few shots that I saw, they were at the ball return, throwing it.
I did see a few
over the gutter. Yeah,
right. It just looked like it was hard.
Yeah, but
you couldn't find anything about it.
Right. So unless you're a PBA member, you can't find a download of the pattern. Unless you go to bowl.com, which is the USBC website, then you can get a download of the pattern, which is weird.
But it's not the same
It's not exactly right. It's not exactly the same.
They change them every year, which I completely get. So it's not the same thing over and over and over again. But why are they only visible to them?
Right. Don't you want people to understand what they're bowling on? Like,
well, yeah,
I guess
so.
I guess you. I'm again. We'll get into this a little bit in a minute, but I understand not exactly wanting, because they have like the PBA experience, right? So you don't want people to bowl on it for free for some reason. But
yeah, but when are you going to bowl on it for free?
What's that?
I don't understand
because like the PBA Experience League you pay for.
Yeah. Well, we wanted to do what do we want to call Beat the Pros or something?
Right. Yeah. On
like a Wednesday night at 9:00, we were going to put the shot out, but because we're not able to find the current pattern unless we're a PBA member,
right?
We can't get the correct information, so we don't even know what to put out.
Right.
Like how would it be comparable?
Right. But that's what I'm saying. So like the I forget where I was going. the shot, if you want to do the PBA Experience, it's a league that you have to pay for. That's why they don't want you to have the download on the website. They don't want to have the information on the website. Yes, it is a league that you have to pay for.
Really? Because I did one when I first came back from school, I think, from college.
Years ago, and they were probably older patterns. Or
you could just click
they were the ones off the USBC
button.
website.
Yeah, I just got them from wherever you could find them.
They may have been older.
I made just a random whatever. Because it was, they're virtually, I think we talked about Bill O'Neill about this 30 episodes ago.
Yeah.
They're always cheetah.
Yeah.
Viper's Viper.
And there's little variations here or there.
Of course. So, but they always play very similar. So it wasn't that important to him to see the graph everywhere he went because they play typically very similar. He just lets his ball be his guide because the friction of the lane surface and the oil is always different. So,
right.
That's just weird to me.
Yeah. Regardless, it was just silly that on the website you would click the oil pattern and it would tell you Bear or Viper, and then it wouldn't tell you even the length or the ratio or anything unless you went to the tournament info and then scroll all the way down to the bottom, and then it would say oil pattern Viper 41 feet, but still wouldn't tell you the ratio, which obviously on the PBA it's going to be 2-1 anyway. But
my question is, are they taking a page out of the book of the USBC where you don't post the pattern for nationals?
No, the players know what pattern.
I'm sure they know what it is, but to the other people, they don't. You know what I mean? Like to normal people like us who don't bowl the PBA Tour, we don't know what it is now.
The viewers or people bowling
in general,
PTQs, because the PTQ is a whole different pattern.
No, I just mean in general, like we wanted to put it out here.
Oh, yeah.
Like it's kind of like the USBC. Yeah, they put out, it's very similar every year, but there's some slight variation for the national event. So for them, it's like, well, they don't need to know about it unless they're a PBA member.
Well, I'll tell you what, if you want the sport to grow, in my opinion, they should be letting the people know what they're bowling on. Because if you, again, I'll bring it back to what I said before. If you hide the information, then they're never going to understand what the pros are bowling on. And they'll just think that they're bowling on the same thing that they're bowling on when they bowl on league night.
Right.
I have a side note here.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Side note me.
So I was looking up on the PBA website.
Yes.
The PTQ.
Yeah.
Is a different oil pattern.
Yeah. That's what I was just saying to Anthony. What I forget what they bowled on.
It was the Wayne Webb 38 foot.
Right. I assume they do that so that the bowlers that make the PTQ advance from the PTQ don't have a day's advantage over the.
Well, they would know the lane surface a little bit better, how the transition happened a little bit. I mean, the transition would always be different because the players are different breed when you're on the tour, so they're going to transition it much differently. But still, you can have an idea of, well, do they break down fairly quickly? Does the track really burn up really fast? Stuff like that. What balls to use in a way. So, I mean, I guess that's smart by them. I wouldn't have thought about that unless I was doing it every day.
Yeah. I also don't think I would. I don't think I would want them to or expect them to have the same shot for a PTQ either. But anyway, the show last night, again, I watched a couple of clips. I'm told, Joey D told us in the bar that the show was unbelievable last night.
The finals was really good.
That's what I mean.
Nick Tate versus Belmo, and they both had like the front 7 or something.
6, I think.
I mean, that's just an attest how good these guys are.
Yeah, Belmo had 6 or 7, and P had 7 or 8.
I mean, you got to think about how good they are. I mean, for example, I mean, just to put in perspective, Belmo has, I'm pretty sure, made every final. Did he make the first one? Did he make the first
No,
Kokomo?
last week he was like 67 out of 72 or something.
Okay, so shake it off. Next week he wins. I mean, second place, first place.
Yeah.
67, taking like a week off, just trying to like get the mind right.
Yeah.
Come back next week and
luckily it's 2 tier 2 events,
I'll win next week.
But apparently in the points list he's like I forget what the numbers are but he
can't be not in first.
Oh, he's in first by a mile.
Well,
is
he
what
should
I'm saying.
be.
Yeah.
I mean,
he's
not
not
even
even close. Yeah, it's just he's untouchable right now.
I know.
He'd have to sit out, I think, in order to be.
He might be able to.
Right.
He might just be like, I'm going to go back home for a while.
He's a month in, and it's like, yeah.
He's already doing really well. Yeah. It's good to see that he's back. It's just, I'd like to see somebody
other guys
else
have a chance.
Yeah,
I mean, Tackett's up there, but
Tackett's up there.
Yeah.
Nick Pate has been bowling pretty well lately as well. So it's good to see what is with the hair. I know my hair's going away. All right, just leave it alone. But that's how it always is. But yeah, it'd be nice to see some other guys win.
Speaking of, so that's Carl and
From down under.
Yeah, and
Australia.
And then Carl and Sarah are both going to be here. I think both will be here in a week or two. Isn't that right, Austin? You've been communicating. Producer Austin actually producing for us. They should be here in a week or two, so we should hopefully have them on. I hope if you guys are able to stop by.
Maybe they can sub for me.
They're looking to bowl. All right, so yeah, Belmo won this week, and Jesper won the week before, and that was almost almost a whole two-handed show last week too, except for
they're getting better on the short stuff.
I forget who else. There's one player I think that wasn't two-handed on that show.
How's our buddy?
Dick Allen?
Yeah,
he finished 9th this week.
Good job, Dick.
Yep,
he's my friend.
He tweeted that his spare shooting improved, so he cracked the top 10.
Gave it the old twist.
Heck
twist
yeah.
it. That's right. All right, so let's talk about. We actually broke into it a little bit while we were talking about the PBA. I wanted to talk about. I had a conversation with one of the bowlers here this weekend, and I wanted to talk about technology and science and how it's involved in the game and how I think it might be hurting the sport overall. And what I mean by that is the participation in the sport. So like I said, I was having a conversation with one of the bowlers here. He's been bowling here for
years,
as long as I've been here. I'll leave names out. And so what we were discussing is, basically, we bowl here at night, blah, blah, blah. And this guy over here, he hits the pocket every once in a while, but every time he hits the pocket, he strikes. But I can't, every time I hit the pocket, I can't strike every time. I don't understand what's going on. So, I was explaining to him, well, it's not about just hitting the pocket. It's how does your ball hit the pocket? How does your ball go through the pins? What is your ball doing from the foul line to the pocket? Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We were talking about stuff like that. And it dawned on me that, I think the majority of league bowlers don't have a firm grasp about
firmly grasp it.
What is going on as soon as the ball is released from their hand, what is happening for that? Geez, how long is the ball in the lane for? 2 seconds. But 3 seconds. Yeah. For that 3 seconds, 2.5, 3 seconds, they don't.
I'm going to time myself tonight.
They don't have a full understanding of what's happening there. So they understand that their ball leaves their hand, rolls a bunch of times, hits the head pin, the pocket, and leaves a 10 pin or a 7 pin or strikes or leaves something in the back row sometimes, whatever. And a lot of them think that the ball hits the pocket, it should strike. But they just don't understand why it doesn't strike. But they're not watching the ball go through the pins. They're not watching the ball roll down the lane to understand why it's maybe not hitting the pocket the way it should be, or why it's not going through the pins the way it should be. And I'm thinking to myself, these guys, the technology in bowling has evolved so fast not fast, over 40 years, it's probably not that fast, but it has evolved beyond a lot of people's understanding. And now, even in league, you have to have so many different balls and understand what's happening on the lanes to make adjustments in order to get the ball to do what you want to get a strike. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's like golf.
How is it like golf?
When you go golfing, do you just go with a driver?
No, but you have one set of clubs that you have for potentially you could have, except for the driver and woods, you could have a set of clubs for your entire life.
Sure, that's fine. But I
Right.
mean, but if you're putting, you have a putter.
Mhm.
If you are hitting a 130-yard shot, you're gonna be using a sand wedge.
Yeah, good players, yes. Sure.
Yeah, if you've got to
Yeah.
hit it three, if the
Yeah.
hole is 400 yards, you're gonna use a driver. You're not gonna use a putter to putt it. I mean, it's gonna take you forever. So, I mean, I think bowling is more or less now getting to the point where things are, certain balls do certain things, so they become golf clubs. They become different tools to be able to combat different conditions and or situations, just like golf clubs. So, how much more scientifical can it get?
So I agree with that. However, golf
Also-
has been like that forever.
Sure, but golf clubs have also come at a much steeper price than bowling balls have.
Right. But once you have your assortment of golf clubs, except that you can buy a new driver every year if you choose to. But once you have your assortment of golf clubs, you have your assortment of golf clubs, right?
Mm-hmm.
So but for a bowling ball, especially since bowling balls die out, for a bowling ball, if you go to a tournament, a lot of guys will bring 9 to 12 to 15 bowling balls to a tournament.
Absolutely, but that's their passion. So more than likely,
I understand that, but I'm not talking about even tournament guys necessarily, because those guys will most likely have an understanding about what they're watching and what they're doing on the lanes.
right?
I'm talking about the people that were losing, which are the league players.
Yes.
So, for example, this person I was talking to plays on the right side of the lane, and what I mean by right side of the lane is I mean
Pretty straight.
the outside part of the lane, which I'll call the desert, because on most house shots, that's what that is.
Right. Correct.
All right. So, what he doesn't understand is that even on a weak ball that skids a lot, it's burning up by the time it hits the pocket. So even though he's in the pocket, the ball has lost all its energy and it's deflecting off the head pin and not driving through the pocket and not carrying
Right.
through the pins.
But that just seems like
It may sound like basic knowledge.
I mean, it is. I mean, it's
But to many players that don't care to learn about all of the nuances of the sport.
I mean, it depends on the player.
Right.
I mean, I'm sure that I've had discussions with multiple people in the center about the basics of how our house shots created, why it's got so much error, et cetera, et cetera. So I just don't think that. I think that what you're getting at is kind of, I get it, but I mean, ultimately that's not. I mean, if you want to stand there, you're paying for the game. You can do that. But if there's so many other balls to help you play there or move left, it just seems like it's kind of they're just knocking themselves out of the game because they don't feel like opening up their mind.
So let's look at it this way, because I thought about it this way too.
Oh yeah.
If I can think about it for a second.
Okay, well, I'll keep talking while we're thinking about it. So because I actually just looked up how much a new driver is.
Yeah.
And the average person, I don't know. None of us play golf.
No.
But
Not
I would
for real,
assume,
no.
let's say that you buy a driver every 2 years.
Which I still don't understand why. I mean, how much can a driver really change?
Depends how much you play.
Yeah.
The
I
wear.
understand, but really, how much can it really change? Other than if you
Driving
break
range?
it or
Driving range, like how often do you hit driving range, whatever. But a
I'm not a golfer, by the
tailor-made,
way. I really
Grooves
don't
wear.
know. Yeah.
a
The grooves
tailor-made,
where it
That I
comes
can
off the head
understand.
different.
Yeah.
there we go. A tailor-made stealth driver Which, to be completely honest with you, I don't play a lot of golf, so I do not know if this is the highest priced one. But TaylorMade sounds about cool. It sounds cool because they always have like some rocket ball crap. So that's how I remember them. Their driver right now is $579.99.
Yeah.
So you're buying one club that you use 18 times around.
No, not even.
Not even.
Let's just
say
times
can we
maybe.
just round up to 600 because I'm bad with math.
Yeah, but let's say 4 to.
Bowling balls are
So
about
let's say,
250.
and on 18 you'll have 3 or 4. You'll definitely have 4 to 6, no more than, because you'll have par 3s, par 4s. So
Sure.
yeah, no more than half of them are going to be
right. So bowling, granted ball
8 or
changes are
9.
more, but your
Depends on
high end
it.
balling, your high end bowling ball is 200. To be honest with you, I think it's at 250 now. The Rotogrip Gem
It's crazy.
is way more expensive. It's $189 for me to sell just out of the shop. That's what Buddies is selling it for. But let's say that ball, and then my drilling fee is $50, so you're looking at $239. I'm buying 2 of
Plus
those bad
taxes.
boys. Plus tax. I can buy 2 of those bad boys for the price of you getting one stealth driver. And then I don't know how much your irons are because I didn't get there yet. I'm sure you've been thinking about what you're going to tell me. So
Yeah.
while as you talk,
I
I will
got it.
look up how much that is. But so let's just say, I mean, in golf, let's not forget golf's price range. I mean, they're going up around. And then if you want a cart, I guess the money aspect, because I kind of looked at it as money aspect too. But if you're going to go play these sports, golf or bowling, you have to be willing to invest the time and money.
So
Your turn.
yeah, so here's what I'm thinking too. So with bowling, what's the matter? Oh, Jersey in the building. What
No.
up, Jersey?
No.
Oh,
I looked up an iron set by TaylorMade. It's gross.
Couple thousand.
Well, you're probably also looking at pro level clubs too here. Like,
Okay,
there's a big difference.
some
Like,
people are going to buy pro level bowling balls.
my Wilsons were like,
Yeah, okay.
like $200.
But you don't play. But
Yeah.
so if we played
Yeah.
golf at the same level
Yeah.
as we bowl, we would
We'd
be
want
buying these
competitive
clubs.
clubs.
Exactly. We would
Yeah.
be buying.
But
So
But Carl, your $1,000 set of irons are gonna also last you for a decade. So that's $200 a year, or I'm sorry, $100 a year.
Till you run
keep
one
going
over with the
because we're
golf
talking
cart.
about
Sorry, I know.
technology
All
and we're
right.
getting on.
So here's the point. So let's talk about how, we always talk about how
Science in bowling.
Yeah.
Is it too much?
So a proprietor will say something to the effect of, okay, well, a league bowler just wants to have a couple beers and have a good time. Okay, but are they willing to actually care enough about learning the game to understand the core, the cover, why their ball's not moving down the lane the right way to strike in order to have a good time, in order to give themselves the strike that they need to score? Because you can set up the shot all day how they
bowl.
think they will score right, but if they don't put themselves in the position to score right, they still will never achieve the score to have that good time and have a couple of beers.
Because they don't understand the science?
Right. Because they can spend as much money as they want and have as many bowling balls as
It's not their problem.
Whose problem?
It's not the average bowler's problem.
You think that at some...
The guy in the pro shop in the lane, the guy who oils the lane should be in cahoots. So that way, with themselves, because ultimately, that player out there is going to come see me. I'm going to say, oh, hey, Jim, I've seen you bowl every week for the past 3 years or my entire life. I know exactly where you stand and where you throw the ball. You need X ball, and you will strike and keep your old ball in case things don't work out for the first game or the last game, so you have another piece of equipment. Problem solved.
I think
they don't need to know anything about covers or cores because I'm in the pro shop. I do it every day. I understand it. They need to come to me and trust me, and I need to get them into something that I know is going to work so that way they don't have to overthink it and they can go stand in the big dot and throw it at the second arrow.
I love your analysis of big dot second arrow.
Because that's exactly what it is. I asked the guy, where do you stand?
80% of your league bowlers.
Yeah. I literally was helping a guy the other day. I was like, where do you stand? Big dot. I'm like, where are you looking? Second arrow. Okay. I said, sounds like everybody else. He said, no way. And I was like, yeah, I mean, that's where most players are taught to play.
It's a comfortable spot. It's right.
Yeah, you're in the middle. You're not close to the gutter, and the second arrow is the second arrow. So it's my job to get the player in the right ball for the condition they're looking for. So I know the condition here is a 10-1. I know the condition is about 23, 24 milliliters. So now I need to take a look. If it's a guy like Austin who gnaws the cover off of it, he doesn't need a super weak ball because that's going to be too flippy for him. He doesn't need the biggest, strongest sanded ball. He probably needs a pearl that's going to pick up a little more in the middle, so we'll alter his layout to get him what he needs. And then Austin will probably keep his old ball. Now, let's pretend you don't have a million zillion of them, but I'll tell him, keep your old ball and bring it to league because in case that doesn't work, you know what that old ball is going to do and you know how it's going to react game 3 when you don't need that much of. So is there too much science? There's a possibility, but that's where your pro shop operator has to come in and enlighten the players.
I agree that we've talked about before.
That's why people call me ball rep.
The pro and the bowling center always have a responsibility to help people learn. Just the other day, and I'm not either of those, but I was here for lunch with Stephanie because I had some time to stop and have some lunch, and there was a guy here. You happened to be late because who knows why you're sleeping in or doing nothing. I don't know. But there was a guy here who had been bowling for 2 weeks, and he was just learning, just got his first ball. So I gave him a few tips, and it helped him out tremendously. I'm not tooting my own horn here or anything. I'm just saying it's our responsibility to teach people and help them grow and learn how to. And he was more than excited that he kind of figured something out, right? So he learned something. And then of course me and your dad brought him in and we're like, all right, this is what you need for the future. And then, from now on, come to a bowling alley to get your stuff instead of the internet and all that other stuff. So yeah, there is a responsibility for the pro shop and the bowling alley to teach people. But there is also an onus on the person to educate themselves.
Not all people want to learn though.
Right.
Just like,
but this is my point there is a
jerseys.
mile of stuff to learn. Like I said, whether it's RG, core, cover, the lane surface. I mean, understanding how much friction there is on the lane under the oil,
of course,
with the age, if you're bowling on wood, if you're bowling on plastic, if it's AMF versus Brunswick or a no-name surface. I say no name, but
Olders.
Just
DBA.
Right. I mean, it's just there's so many different variables that so many people just don't understand. But even if you're just bowling in not your own house, but just a one league person that doesn't understand why they're not striking, but maybe doesn't want to put in the extra effort, but still complains every week.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Trust me, I know what you're saying.
And I think this is why bowling, this is my point, is that I think this is why bowling is losing people, because the difference between bowling and golf and also, Stephanie made a point too, is why bowlers are spoiled is because to a certain point, bowling has given them so much extra power that they strike, but then has also gone beyond their knowledge because
now it's too much for them.
It's too much for them to grasp.
That's kind of like the golden years were like the early 2000s because
they got so much extra power, but now it's just.
But it wasn't too much, and everybody
Right.
kind of understood it. The lanes were set up really nicely compared to what was previous, and things kind of skyrocketed, and then they kept going.
Right.
That's where I was going to take it. Is it the fact that there's too much science in bowling, or is it the fact that scoring a lot has become easier because of the science? Because 20 years ago, people still came and had fun and shot 200s, throwing 5-10 pins a game.
Right. It was a different era back then, though, too. Let's not forget.
Well, that's what I'm getting at. Is it the fact that the science has increased, so people think they have to score 240s?
Well, the pocket is now this big, because of the bowling balls and the patterns. The pattern is, let's not forget the lane machine is still fairly new. And even
in the grand scheme of things,
bowling's the lane machine's fairly new. So when you spoil those lanes, I mean, you didn't have back in the day, you didn't get. I mean, the bowling balls weren't as powerful. You didn't need as much oil. Don't get me wrong, but the lanes weren't cleaned every day. Were they oiled every day? Maybe. But then let's look at it this way. Right. But let's look at it this way. Your tolerances on the lanes and the actual shot was much more what's it called? It was much more regulated back then. So now with the new technology, things have become easier to score. The lanes are conditioned better, I would say, because they are definitely much more consistent than somebody hand stripping or hand oiling and stuff like that. So I just think that, yeah, there is a lot of science to it, but let's be honest, the time to score is now, because it's almost like you get a freaking pristine golf hole every time you get out there. Like, there's no wind when you first start in game one. I mean, yeah, there'll be some transition, but it's not going to get horrendous like it used to. Like when the lanes, like if the urethane balls carried down or whatever, you're not, oh, we're on 17, 18 tonight. There's a high board down there. Well, there's synthetic lanes now. You don't have to worry about a high board on 17 or learning the characteristics of the house
unless it's the approach.
Yeah. Yes. But I just think, I just don't think that it's. I think the science, there's a lot behind it, but it's not the reason that bowlers don't bowl or the bowlers don't enjoy it. It's easier to score now than ever. So how can you be mad?
Sure.
And I'm looking at Jersey Edwin. I'm sorry, but he wants to have a beer with Dave. Dave, I just want to let you know, I saw your comment earlier. You want to have a ball play big dot second arrow, buddy. You better bowl your left hand then, because you got so many revs. You got enough for freaking 3 people.
Yeah.
So, you ain't playing big dot second arrow, second shift, baby.
Yeah.
Unless you get a square ball.
I do think the other thing too is, and I could be wrong here, but the difference between something like golf and
reversal
bowling
exactly
is with bowling or with golf and tennis.
There's a bunch of technology.
Yeah, but I don't like with golf. I'm here to, and I know the golfers are probably going to get mad at me, but I'm 100 yards out, and I've got a downhill lie, and I know it's like, I know that it's.
So I'm really hitting 80 yards. I need my pitching wedge.
Right, like you know what club you have to guess or use, and you have to pick your swing.
You're gonna hit my head against the wall.
But you're not guessing what ball is going to roll up.
I'm not guessing in league either, because 9 times out of 10, the pattern's going to play within 2 boards, and I can start with the same ball every time I walk out there.
At least 30 years ago, it was a steady roll, and it was either you're either adding speed or taking away speed.
Yeah, you're changing.
And you know what I mean? It wasn't like all of these 10 different options. Like when a guy goes to a pro shop, they're telling them, well, it's not just pick a ball and you got to throw it 3 different ways. It's you got to buy 3 different bowling balls and spend $500 with me. Which
isn't as bad as an iron set, which is $1,200 or $1,300. Anyways.
Yeah, the high-end set. Again, you can go buy a $500 set of clubs.
Okay, you can go
that'll last you a decade.
Yeah, but
you're not gonna get but you're not getting the same deal. Like if people want to score the best they can, they're not gonna buy $500 set of irons. Now, back to your 80 yards downhill lie, and then we'll get to you. I'll say you want to chime in. He knows what clubs he's got hit. Really? When I walk out to league every night,
Jeremy, golf is harder for you than bowling.
When Austin goes out on I mean, I guess not. You can't compare that because he's second shift. Not a lot of people have second shifts, I guess. But let's say you bowl first shift. A guy like Tony Silvano, when he comes in to bowl, he grabs the same ball every week and goes out there and shoots 640. What's wrong with that? He doesn't know the science behind it. He just gets the ball. He gets up there. He stands. I don't know where he stands, but I'm just going to say big dot second arrow. And he's going to take his Nova, which we just drilled, and he's going to throw it right up the edge of the lane every week. And he's going to shoot 640 every week. How much more complicated can I make it? Tony, what ball do I want it? You want that ball. Okay, thank you. 660. He's out of the gate, 780. What science does he need to know? Nothing.
Edwin, come bowl us on 1-to-1 and tell us if golf is easier or harder.
Ooh, that's true. Golf is hard.
See, that's a tough challenge.
About golf.
Yes, he did.
Because
the fact that more people play the harder sport.
See, I understand where he's coming from. The mechanics of bowling are easier to learn than the whole game of golf.
Yeah.
The knowledge in bowling is harder to learn than the knowledge.
I agree with that.
And I'm gonna say you can't put a 1-to-1 now. That's not fair.
I'm just saying.
Because 1-to-1 is all topography.
It's got to be a 3-to-1.
Give him a 3-to-1.
1.5-to-1.
Kyle, you got to hit 200 for the video, all right?
You better put out a 7 for him, okay?
Easy.
Anyways,
Easy.
I just don't see where you're going with the scientific thing. Guys come to me. I know the science. I know the lane pattern. I understand it, I think, fairly well. And I put them in a ball that I'm 95% sure is going to work. Sorry, it's only 95%. And I think that it's just a testament to people who go out there and bowl. I mean, Tony is a great example.
At the same time, though, when you're giving them that ball choice, you usually talk to them about why the old ball
is
isn't
no good.
doing
Right.
what.
So I explained to them.
So you're trying to
explain
to them why they're leaving 10 pins. That's the
Right.
difference. A lot of pro shop owners will be like, it's an old ball.
Well,
Just get a new ball.
Right. You need something that's going to create a little more friction, depending on how you bowl, too. Like Tony, for example, he asked me about a few different balls, and I gave him a few different options, and I told him why we want these bowling balls, because he wanted something that was going to be a little bit like this and a little bit like this. What balls am I looking for? Okay, you're looking for this. And then I kind of explained to him why. To be honest with you, I don't think here's the other thing. I don't think a lot of pro shop operators want to give their information away, because I had somebody recently come into the shop and he asked me what he wanted, and I explained to him why he wanted a ball, and he's like, okay, I'll think about it. The next week he came practice and he had that ball and he had it drilled from somebody else. So why are pro shop guys going to give away their information that they worked hard to learn? They took the time out to learn when a customer comes in and then goes somewhere else because it's either cheaper and or I don't really just want to get drilled here, but let me just pick your brain for an hour about a ball. I mean, that's another thing. So then people kind of get ticked about that and they go somewhere else and get it. Maybe the other pro shop person doesn't know as much, or maybe they just don't really freely give it out as much.
Yeah.
So that's another thing too. So now you're talking about, well, it's kind of the customer's fault while people don't give out information, because now you're putting me in a tough spot. And listen, I want your business and you're asking me all these questions. So I think you're going to come to me and then you go somewhere else. And then it's like, well, what the heck, man?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, on that note, or just speaking to that note, that would be, to me, in the realm of just, that's, as I guess Dave Wadka would put it, kind of giving back to the game, I guess.
Yeah.
And that's a situation where when you see that person, you would just say, hey, bud, glad you got a ball. You know, just next time,
listen, I didn't
back to me. You know,
I didn't
I
don't say anything.
I know,
because
I'm
I
just,
get like, it doesn't bother me because
yeah,
I'm busy enough. But
yeah, you just don't
doing
want
some
to
other
just
stuff.
yeah, you wouldn't just get mad about it or
Yeah,
whatever.
I mean, it is what it is.
You're gonna
but-
have one out of every handful. That
Sure,
does
but
it.
that's another thing. So then you're talking about,
Just don't withhold. Just don't let it bother you for next time. And anybody that's listening, don't let it bother you for next time either, because
I mean, I freely give out information.
right, because you want to make sure that everybody's getting educated.
You can ask. Yeah,
Yeah.
I really try to give a good understanding of why
Yeah,
people want
and that's
what
good.
and why the
'Cause we always
mechanics of
give
it.
out
We have a
free
learning
information
board
now.
Yeah, we have a
Yeah.
learning board over there behind Austin's head that tells you a bunch of crap. Because we're trying to educate the player and not just, oh, hey, I want you to buy the most expensive ball in here
Right.
because that's what you need.
Right.
When you don't need it.
You've never thrown a
Big
ball
cover
before?
stock.
Oh, take a look at this right
Yeah.
here.
Well, that's another thing. Yeah, I try not to do that. But
Yeah.
then some people are like, no, I need that ball.
Right.
And I'm like, if you really need that one, I'm not saying you need it. It'll be great,
Well, that's
but you want it. Okay.
that's like the
Yeah.
same thing as the customers who shop for the scented storm balls. It
Yeah.
may not be the ball for them, but they want the scent.
Possibly.
And then
Might not be
then
the
the
right one, but they
complaints
want that
come
scent.
because the ball doesn't do what they want it to do.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, the ball wasn't intended to do what you want it to do.
So back on our topic of, is there too much technology? For the pro shop operator, there is, because they need to know. Maybe for the tournament player who is already has this as a hobby.
Actually,
Sure.
side note, for the tournament player, you're damn right there's too much technology, because we couldn't even cross lanes last week because of the 3,000 bowling balls that were in the bowling alley last week.
Absolutely.
Holy crap.
I mean, but a lot, like if you go to a tournament,
Side
you're
note,
going
though.
Yeah, but I think
to
that's a lot of
bring
etiquette,
bowling
too.
balls.
No, it was
It was
awful.
packed.
It
It
was
was like
just-
packed to the
Bowling
which
alleys
isn't a
are
big
50
deal.
years old in America, you know what I mean? So it is what it is, but it just was horrible trying to cross.
You heard it here first. Kyle wants the federal government to rebuild bowling alleys.
But going to the
Hell no.
technology,
Twice as large.
The tournament player, there might be more information, because then you're looking at ratios, volume, reverse buffer drop, what surface you're on, what oil they're using. Yes. When you go to league every week, and you're not losing those tournament players, because those tournament players are there for a reason.
Yeah, if you go to league every week, like
you
Dave
go to-
Wadka said, you bring more than one bag,
I mean, yeah.
turn around.
I just think that your league player can 95% of the time, grab the same ball every week and do the same thing.
Get to the pocket at least.
There's not too much science behind that. I mean, listen, if you really want to get down to the but we've talked about a lot of information on the show. You can really get into a rabbit hole.
Yeah.
But I just don't think for league bowling it's there. I'm sorry. It's league bowling. I can almost bowl blind right-handed, and I'm lefty. I'm sorry. That's just my opinion. I think it's very easy. You can grab 2 bowling balls and a plastic ball and make it through a year.
This show was not intended for you to pat yourself on the back.
I'm not patting myself on the back.
Yeah, I just bring saying. 2 balls in a urethane ball.
I bring 2 balls.
Listen,
yeah, for plastic.
No,
for
that's the bailout ball.
I just bring 2 balls in my urethane ball for plastic.
Austin VanBuren, how dare you?
Just because. I mean, am I winning this argument here? I feel like I kind of am.
I didn't know we were having an argument.
I don't know. Anthony feels like it. I am just saying that technology has outpaced the average bowler.
Not disagreeing with you.
In the knowledge realm, and I think that they don't understand what they're up against, so they don't feel like they can score as much as they feel like they should be. Because I'm saying, they're in the pocket, they think they should be striking, so they get upset about it.
Right.
So they're, wow, I'm done. You know what I mean?
Let me ask you
in
a
that
question.
mode. Do they deserve that? No.
Going back to what you talked about earlier, the one guy hits the pocket 2 or 3 times a game and he strikes 2 or 3 times a game.
Right.
And he's like, oh, he strikes 2 out of 3 times. Well, in reality, the people who say that and say, I hit the pocket every shot and I throw 2 out of 3 too. Well, that's still like 7 strikes.
Right. Oh, I'm not arguing that fact.
So, I mean,
yeah.
How can, scientific, I'll be honest.
Statistically.
Sure. I think that the league bowler is.
What's he asking for? 300 every game?
But that's what people think it is. They think it's that easy. They, which is fine. But, your league bowler, everything's over their head. But, man, the shot's 10-1. You're going to hit the pocket 9 times out of 10. You can miss 5 or 6 boards. Scientifically, if we're talking error, isn't that some scientific error? I mean, you got a lot of error room on a house shot.
Yeah, I don't know if the words you used are actual science.
They're definitely not. They're definitely not. I just don't think that there's enough science in league bowling. I think that's what you're catering this conversation to.
Yeah, I guess you're right. I guess I'm just maybe my point was that he doesn't see what's on the lane, what's happening. That his ball is just DOA.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So it would take.
He sees, he doesn't see what's in front of him.
Right, and people don't understand that.
Right.
So I get that. But I'm pretty sure I've explained it to a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
It's tough to explain to people, because the older the person, the more they're used to the glory days of the early 2000s.
That's true too.
Which is when because I think I know who you're talking about. Great guy, always comes back to his favorite ball, and he's like, the El Nino was the best ball ever made, and so that so I try to find stuff that is similar to the El Nino, because I think we've talked about it a few times, but I just don't think there's too much science for league bowlers. If you want to get into tournament play, heck yeah, abso-freaking-lutely. And to be honest with you, to be completely honest, I think that what they should do is they should put some classes out. Maybe the PBA or the USBC. I don't care if you charge for not, but get the knowledge to the people. I don't think there is anything out there that really explains. I mean, yeah, they do YouTube stuff, but I mean, come on, it's so far off now.
But at the same time, I wanted to comment on Kyle's statement for a second about league bowlers getting mad when they don't understand what's going on. That comes down to fight or flight. They're choosing to get upset and not understand it instead of say, I want to be constructive. There's a reason this is happening. And if they're going to flight and just get upset and walk out, they're not willing to learn anyways.
Right. That's true.
So
That's true.
It's tough to teach someone who doesn't care to hear it.
Yeah.
Right. Now, the other thing is,
I would say, hang on, I want to make a point about your YouTube comment, because I think that's actually a really good idea. Now we're talking the USBC putting out maybe a bunch of YouTube learning videos.
I think Kegel has done that.
They have. I think
they have,
right.
and they're really good at it because they do it all day. But I think that does everybody know about Kegel if they're an average bowler?
Right, probably
USBC
not.
is what you're signing up for. So joining forces or something.
This is
because what I don't see is the average league bowler taking any time out of their day to make them,
Get better.
Like
Practice?
they're not going to take any time, an hour, whatever. They're not going to take time out off of work. They're not going to take time from their family, whatever.
Okay, so how many people
to
do that in golf,
improve.
though?
You go to the driving range when you're like
A lot-
outside
a
in
lot
the
of
sun.
But let me ask you
a
a
lot.
question. Who's the big lefty who swings it like a crazy mother effer on the tour?
There's a couple lefties that swing the
dude.
ball
He
a lot.
won a few years ago. Bubba Watson.
Oh wait, are we talking about
Golf.
golf?
Just quickly, Bubba Watson.
Isn't
big
Bubba
lefty.
righty? Is Bubba righty or lefty? Dude, I don't
There
know.
is some guy who was lefty and he won some big tournament. And you know what he said about the driving range? They said, "How often you go to the driving range?" He says, "Not often. Only before I warm up for tournaments." And they said, "Why?" You don't learn to play golf on a driving range.
No, you learn how to hit the ball.
You learn how to hit it
drive
out of the
ball.
rough. You learn how to hit it out of the trees. You learn how to hit it out of the sand. So don't tell me that, people go, what's the golf range going to do for people? Absolutely nothing. I'm sorry. Unless you're getting a lesson. DeChambeau, definitely not him. It is Bubba. It's definitely Bubba. DeChambeau is right-handed. It's not Mickelson. It's definitely Bubba. But yeah, he says I hit the ball over the lot. Why the heck am I going to learn to hit it straight? I'm not going to hit it straight every shot. I got to learn how to play everything. So sure, the driving range don't help nobody.
I have a comment on Anthony's YouTube information videos. Back when they first came out with the automated bowling arm, I always wanted them to. They put videos up of like showing different rev rates, stuff like this, what a ball does at different rev rates. But I never saw anything in detail about different tilts. And that's something that I think a lot of league bowlers need to understand. When they get to a certain part of the lane, if their axis tilt isn't in the right spot, you're going to leave a 10-pin every time.
Ball's too flat.
And I think if they use the automated bowling arm where there is no human error in it to show the difference, it would be very beneficial.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of different ways that we could go to.
This could go on and on and on.
But the problem is that the people have to want it as well. And is there an actual crowd that would pay for this? Because if you look at it, your tournament players are already in with their PSOs.
Yep.
Pro shop operators. They're already in with a pro shop. They're already in with a center. I'm sure they've got friends. So what happens is that stuff gets passed through that. And I get it. Granted, you want to put something on the internet, but are those people are they gonna watch it? And are the league people really gonna pay for that as well? To be
pay for it.
You would have to pay for it. They
Well,
would have
no,
to have
YouTube
classes,
no.
seminars.
Oh no, that's what I'm saying.
I'm
is
talking just
the classes
YouTube
and the
videos.
seminars. Nobody's going to take the time. That's what I'm saying.
People will watch YouTube videos.
YouTube
15-minute
videos
YouTube
where-
videos.
They do have some YouTube videos, but I mean, are they good? I don't know. I haven't watched them, but if we pay, here's my other thing: if you pay $20 a year for a USB-C membership, and I get a piece of paper for $300, how come I don't have any kind of extra access to anything else?
This is what I'm talking about.
It's a whole different topic.
I know, and
That's what I'm
where-
saying.
that's
If they
where
had
that-
some YouTube videos or something
But
to invest into that,
why would you even have to invest in it? Why doesn't my USB-C cost
they
pay for my
them
whole
invest
TV?
into it. Are you listening to what I'm saying?
No.
USB-C invest into putting out some
Yeah.
videos for the bowlers to be able to watch.
But to not be a hypocrite, because I am right now, when we talked to 10-Pin Life, Ben,
Yeah.
I did say it's not the USB-C's.
Yeah,
It's not their-
He's a
bowling alley.
hypocrite.
It's
The center
bowling
and
alleys
the center of the
pro
pro
shops.
shop
Back
needs
on his
to
words.
Yeah,
needs to. I do remember. It's my job to do that,
it is.
but
Can be both people's
it
job.
shouldn't be.
There should be help.
There should be some more help
Yep.
out there.
Alrighty, let's get to bowler of the week. Let's move on from this. I win. So remember, if you'd like to be bowler of the week or would like to nominate someone to be bowler of the week, go ahead and click the link in the show notes and fill out that form. You can also find that link in all of our social media pages. This week from Attleboro, Massachusetts, that's right, our second out-of-state bowler of the week, with a 137 average, bowling her high series of 585 and a high game of 199, almost getting to 200. Yes, I can do math. Our bowler of the week this week is, congratulations, Karen Barrows. And I did see she was watching, so thank you and congratulations to Karen with, again, her high series of 585 and high game of 199. And remember, if you would like to be bowler of the week or would like to nominate someone to be bowler of the week, click that link in the show notes and fill out the form. All right, guys, it is time for us to go bowling. Thank you so much for listening to us.
Told you were off today.
Rant and rattle. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share with your friends. Catch us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. If you can't watch the show, you can download and listen from any major podcast outlet. And while you're doing that, please give us a 5-star review. If you want to check out our merch shop on Etsy, the link is in the show notes. Or if you would like to sponsor the show, you can always email us at downlanepod@gmail.com. And you can also email us there to make show suggestions. Thank you, Austin VanBuren, the producer.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Jack Scaccia, proprietor of Town and Country Lanes. Thank you, Anthony, for another great show.
It's great to be a guest on this show for the 30-something week now. 22nd, actually. 22nd week in a row.
Don't forget that next week we will be releasing the Pink Widow review.
Pinky!
It
And the
is
brain.
done, and it will be released next week on the YouTube. Thank you to my family, Stephanie, Zach, and Ethan.
And my girlfriend, Jan.
Thank you guys for watching and listening. This is Down Lane Podcast.